occasionally help me. So yeah, I'm standing on a 5x5 LED surface, and we're going up some test patterns. You can see here we have a floor, we have a left wall and a right wall. So we have 5 meters by 3 meters, and the same on this side, and we have 5 meter floor. And the resolution, as you can see on here, 1920 by 1152. These are run from our media servers, which I will talk about in detail. So XR, you may or not be aware, is where we're able to merge augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality all into one area, and be able to manipulate the content, and it all comes down to the camera. So there's tracking details. There's a camera tracker, which I will talk about in a bit more detail. There's a little red camera on all 3 of these cameras. That points up and looks at the reflective dots in the ceiling. The optical camera tracking looks at the dots, works out where it is in 3D space. That information is sent to the Sky server, and then the Sky server is able to draw the content to the perspective of that camera. So I'll bring up the first scene, 360-degree image of Machu Picchu, and then if Harrison is able to move the camera around a little bit, you will see that content is being drawn to the perspective of that camera. And then, so that's not particularly complicated. That's drawing some content on LED walls and then displaying out. What we do here is we're able to extend the reality beyond the LED. So when I push this, we are now able to merge the content, and Harrison is able to swing that camera around wherever he wants, and you always have an image to look at. So if I go over here, I'm out on stage, you can't see me, and yet Harrison swings around to me. He's pointing the camera at me, but he can't see me. And I can jump back on here, and reappear. So there's a process, a spatial calibration process that Disguise runs that works out where the LED is in relation to the camera tracking system, which we will talk about in more detail. So that's not particularly complicated. We'll give you another one of these. This is the Flight Gallery and Time Museum, if anyone's been there recently. So this is a 360 camera which we took off their online tours, and then we were able to import that in. It's a very large, high-res image, and again, Harrison's able to swing that camera around and move around the whole world. Now, there's one issue you can see. I look like I'm floating now. That's because there's only one perspective taken on the image. So obviously, that's quite hard to deal with. And if I wanted to go over to that suit over there, I can't because the camera is only taking one position. So it can be an issue, but there are ways to work around that. So if we just plan the canvas and just panning only, you might be able to get away with it. It doesn't have to be just static images, it could also be a video. So we've worked with Eurosport very heavily on their the Cube project, and they did the French folk in, I think it was, about this time last year approximately, and they couldn't send anyone there to shoot the broadcast, so they got pushed to the camera in Roland Garros, and then they were to bring that footage across to London and just immerse the presenters, which is really good. And as you can see, at the same time, you can see the content, and again, Harrison can swing around the camera wherever he wants, which is cool. So I just say it's either 360, either images or videos, and there's a certain amount of coolness here, but it doesn't give us the full range of freedom that we might want. So what we use is real-time content engines from like Notch or Unity or Unreal, and that allows us to render the worlds in real time, and we're able to move the camera wherever we like in that surface. Well, hello, I should that all the way down something. So this is the Rockface Studio. This is built in Unreal Engine, I'm sure you guys may have heard of, you can download it. So these are some sets we have. We use it for our rental stock here. I'll talk about more in detail. And then what we're able to do is we're able to bring in some screens. So this is now a PowerPoint over here. So this is just what a standard PowerPoint machine into the media server, and then I'm able to select that on. Here we go. And also we also have a pre-recorded Zoom call, which is also should be live. Today it's just pre-recorded. And I get the real engagement. I can see Mark, Dennis, Steph, and Zach, and then we can bring them to full frame. We can do anything we want with them into the world. It's cool. Because again, this is all real time. I can move these. We program these moves. So now I've just got one screen, and again, Harrison can bring that camera right in, and you can give me just tighten up on this PowerPoint. nice and easy. Again, we could move that where we would like. It's just a world that we've built, and then we're able to move things around. We can also do things like this. I'll get out this tracking. So I mentioned camera tracker. There's also black tracks in this room. So black tracks has 10 cameras around the rig, and then they are looking at 2 dots. Actually, so I'm also being tracked as well as the cameras. So wherever I move, the lighting rig is following me. So these RXBs, they're all looking at me, and they're all tracking me. So if another colleague, anyone wants to jump on the stage very quickly, you'll see that you're not lit. There you go, you're not lit. If you have one of these on, because I can't forward to you tomorrow. We could do another tracker, and we could buy the lights on, which means we get our key to fill at the back, proper broadcast lighting, and then we'll let you wherever you are. Thank you very much. So you can give the designer full control. They can pick which fixtures they want to give each presenter. Really nice, and we're able to work that into the scene. One of the big things about lighting here is the fact that you have to blend in with the scene. Obviously this is a demo, so I'm rolling through lots of scenes really quickly. But if we had a proper DOP or lighting director, they were able to, for example, give me a nice world glow in that sky panel to match the world. Really cool. So that's one tracking. So we can also use black tracks to track objects. I didn't speak earlier. So if I bring this on, this is a Helios beacon, the black tracks element. And that is now paired to this black tracks tracker. So I'm able to bring that to the camera, and this is in front plate. So this is after me over the camera. So Harrison's able to look really nice and neat here. It's an exploding demo, exploding object. This is made in Notch, so another content. So this Unreal is the world, and Notch is attached to my tracker. And I'm able to bring that around, I can move that around. That's the front plate. It's also in back plate. So if I was to be up here, for example, I can see it there, I can refer to it, I know what's going on, so at the same time you guys get a nice high quality version of it from the front plate, which is really cool. And that could be any object, that could be an iPad, it could be a car, whatever you want. We're able to bring in objects in any convention, so if you create an object in...
Sorry, I've got a question.
Yes, sorry, I can't quite see that.
How are you exporting the location data from Blacktrack into Notch or, sorry,
Yeah, so we use Disguise. So Disguise runs all that, and then there's it runs in the network essentially. We will definitely show you that back there. Joe, our Disguise server, we will show you that. That's all networked, and it's all, in real time until it comes to it. But yes, that's a very good question. We will, Disguise runs the kind of the main movement. So that's really cool. We can also jump to another world. So in the amphitheatre, this is a nice little world. So Harrison can swing that jib all the way up to the back if you'd like to. And you can just get a really scale of things. We've done a few projects where we've had a virtual audience in the seats, which is really cool. And I can also change that to night time. It's nice and easy changing these objects. This is an Unreal project again, and we're able to retexture these really easily. So this is a full Photoshop document, which is with a plugin in Unreal. And we can just change the logos, we can change the colour of the seats. Lots of textures, really nice and easily. So for corporate work, it's really handy because you can just run through the content really quickly and change things. And we're good to go. Now, currently, you've only seen worlds with one stage. It could be a multi-stage. So this stage, this world, has multiple stages around here. And quite often you would cover this in a broadcast with a sting or a video, but you could also do it live. I'm going to do it live now so you can see it. The world is now going to shift below me, which makes it feel a lot easier. And so there we go, I'm in a different part of the world. We've just spun the world right down there from the skies. I can bring the screens back here. There you go. So you're back to our Zoom call and our PowerPoint. I can see them, just nice and handy. I can interact with them. So this is a great having Dennis, Steph, Mark and Zach on the screen here, brought in by a Zoom call or Teams call. We don't really mind, it's an SDI feed. What's slightly better is if we bring in someone like this. Now here's Mark. You can see that Mark's in a green screen, 20 meters away, and this could be anywhere in the world. So we've essentially got a green screen, we bring a camera, brought in the feed. It could be down HRT feed, it could be down EMIX call, we don't really mind. Obviously that varies the quality, we can discuss that. and we're able to key them out and place them onto the stage, and I get really nice outline. So Mark, how are you today? Good, good. So obviously we would have a mic each and you have to do each other. We've done, I'll show you a few videos later, we brought in we did the Lions launch for rugby, and we were able to bring in the captain from Cardiff. So we sent a team over to Cardiff, and then we were able to bring him in, same as Mark's brought in. And then Harrison still has the ability to move his camera around a little bit and really kind of get the right engagement. The fact that I'm looking at Mark, you get that key pretty bang on, you would think we're both in the same room. Just kind of think, cool, thanks Mark. And I can turn them off really easily if I don't want to talk to him. And so, I did mention about AR a little bit earlier. I'm bring that back in again now. So if I bring the bird, here we go, so that little birdie, it's just down here, is in front of me. That's a notch object again, but again, that could be whatever you like. That's in front of the camera, it means wherever I move, the bird's in front of me. I can't physically get in front of that. Right. I could bring it to backlight. So all we've done in Disguise, we've changed from front light to backlight. And I can switch that. So the backlight now I should be there because I'm standing on it. Because I can see here, I know I should be there. What we can also do, we can attach the birds to my tracker. So I'm going to pick them up. There we go. And then I can now walk around the bit. And then I can again bring that up, like David the Hill speaking, nice and big detail. That could be a product launch, that could be, yeah, whatever you like essentially. And you can take full detail, and I can even pop that bird back down here once I'm finished with it. And he just sits there. And that's really cool. Thank you, Joe. There we go. That's a joke. The next level of tracking is now we've got the Smart Stage logo on stage here. I can see it. Happy days. But what I'm able to do now is I'm able to walk around that. So no matter where I stand, I will always be in the right perspective. What that allows you to design is a threshold setting. So when I move at a certain point on the X or Y axis, it's switching it from front plate to back plate. Again, that's a notch. You can do it on Unreal, but it is possible to do it on Unreal. So that is really cool. So we can also have that with the green screen. That could be a tracked object, so I can walk around that person, which could be quite a cool thing to do. So I'm going to turn that one off now. Makes sense. Don't think I'll do that. We should move on. So a couple of more scenes to go. So we have this scene which is called the Artist Loft. We've done the vibe, more creative, some might say. And again, we're able to brand the rug in colours. You can see up the top there, there's a white light logo, and we're able to brand them nice and easily. You can change the texture of the walls nice and easily, and then it could be a view out the window. It's not saying that it could be on a city, would be like. So all these worlds are created by Frey, which is Finn Ross. He's a world-renowned designer in mini theatre. He's designed things like Tempest, Les Mis, Curious Incident, I might want to say. I can't remember that. Yeah, loads of the top end. And they've created 21 sets for us to use, and we rent them out on a rental basis to corporate clients mainly. And the fact that we're able to skin them really easily, bring in screens, into screens somewhere. Yeah, again, this is my PowerPoint back again, and then able to engage with that nice and easily, which is cool. And a couple more. So as I say, you can reskin these really easily. So I can now just change these colours. We also program these, but you can do whatever you want. So I can change these. There's a click a button, change materials, do something new, and that really kind of brightens up the mood. For example, a corporate conference might have a sponsor for a particular section. You could change that quite literally to, I don't know, marketing or DB or whatever, and then that would allow you to kind of sponsor a section of the conference. It's fun. I'm just going to jump through a couple more scenes. So they've been quite corporate, quite still, but you could go quite abstract like this, so you get a nice parallax behind me here, Harrison's up and down. Cool. And then got this one, this one. We call this one waveform, which is quite cool. What else have we got here? Not been this before. Yeah, this one here, yes. Saturation studio, large TV studio. Again, these are multiple stages. These are windows that you can be brought in from PowerPoint. VTs if you like. There's also some shapers up there, so you can move these up there if you like. And what else do I have? Joe, does the notch seem to work? They do, yeah? Yeah, it does. Great. So this is just a notch now. So again, a bit more abstract. You'll notice the notch is not as lifelike, some might say. They are definitely getting there, but so there's different uses for different systems essentially. Unreal is very good for creating lifelike objects, and worlds where it's not a bit more abstract, a bit more kind of creative, some might say. But it's again what we use this stage for and where it goes. So, come on stage. It's a virtual production stage. We've used this for corporate events. Right, COVID-19. We produced about 1,000 hours of corporate broadcasts this last September. Like I said to you guys when you walked in, we were in the warehouse kind of March last year, and then we kind of developed more, became more of a rental product, really exciting for us. And we moved to the Science Museum. We had this size stage, a bit less space. You see that when you come to the gallery. And then we moved here, beginning of this year, allowed us to really expand, be able to get the gym in, which was really fantastic for those creative shots. And yeah, we've hosted guest presenters from pretty much every corner of the planet, brought in virtually either teleport or video calls, it's really exciting. We also use the stage for pushing our innovations along. We've done lots of R&D testing with some LED manufacturers, brought in and Disguise particularly about the whole process, which is really cool. The fact we get space and we're able to drive things and R&D, trying things. Constantly this area of production is moving so rapidly, especially during the pandemic. It's really exciting for us to kind of get time to kind of develop that, which is cool. I'm just going to show you a couple of videos. This one is Eurosport, so you might, I don't know if you guys watch tennis in Eurosport. This is Australian Open. This was shot in Studio 15 in our warehouse, essentially in our warehouse. It's on a 3x3 stage. So you imagine the LED wall out here. And then you have the gym, and you'll see these full shots. The video does cut away to the clean shot in a minute, and you'll see the actual stage you're standing on, and the rest of it is on it. So there you go, that's on. And they are currently doing the French Open on exactly the same stage. And our team's doing that now until Sunday actually finishes. Yeah. So we're able to bring in presenters from Australia and create these really cool shots. This is an Unreal again. Their content department is pretty cool, as you can see. And it makes you feel like you're there. Again, that's a live feed from Melbourne at that time. So they get the same skylines. They're all there. I'll try and show you a picture of the green screen. Comes in. Do they do it? Do they do it? That is the question. Really don't. Okay, but yeah, there's one more green screen coming up, which is really cool. And so again, these guys were on night shift, so you can imagine. So here we go. That's women there teleported in from Melbourne. She's got a mic, a green screen, and then you can see and talk to each other, interact, which is cool. Another sports one. For some reason it's sports based. We announced the British and Irish Lions tour. This about a month ago, approximately. So Alan Wynne-Jones on the left with Lee McKenzie. Lee McKenzie standing on the stage about there. Alan Wynne-Jones is in a green screen studio which we built in a hotel in Cardiff. So we sent our team from SFL down there. They sent us that feed, and then we were comping live onto the stage. And it was a full competition that went out live to Sky Sports UK, Sky Sports New Zealand. We got about 200,000 views online, live, simultaneous. Lost all the media covered after, so that's probably our biggest broadcast ever from the stage. All down IP, all on the internet. That worked. Busy day, it was a good day. What else have I got to show you? So some more stuff. In terms of the main hardware stuff, Disguise is our kind of backbone. I'll show you a bit more about the workflow than that in a minute. Mostly this is our camera system. So that tracks our cameras, which is kind of paramount. Black tracks will say tracks our lighting and our objects, and Brompton provides our kind of LED processing. So the walls and floor are all raw, and then Brompton's the processing behind it, which allows you to get high frame rate. We've also done some demos with them in terms of moving it on, which is quite cool. What else have we got? So this is kind of the general workflow of Disguise. If you're waiting to take a picture of this, you'll like there online. So imagine the server, hosting server, that is bringing in the render stream then an unprogressed render stream from render nodes. That could be Notch, Unreal, Unity, that kind of stuff. And then compositing server adds the tracking systems and cameras plus the video feeds, attach them together, outputs the surfaces, 3 walls, plus your what we call smart image output, which is what you're viewing on the screen. That then goes to the vision mixer, and then we obviously route that to wherever we need to, plus bring in video calls, PowerPoints, keynotes, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's the general flow. This is the new kind of stuff, it's just workflow that they're pushing. It allows you to essentially scale your render nodes. So if you have a very complex project, then you just get more render nodes. You can write them in what you need to do. And then your compositing service is pretty much the same, because your compositing server isn't doing a huge amount, it's just getting the calibrations together, moving it around, and then timelining, like you would any other kind of media server project. Yeah, that is that. I mean, obviously that's quite a high level schematic, but it is a schematic nonetheless. And we are a certified solutions provider with Disguise. We are known for installing these, renting them out, specing and designing them. Our market is quite expanding rapidly. We install these into universities, into corporate clients. It's great for presentation environments essentially. So you imagine during the pandemic, the remote online audiences exploded hugely, but everyone's bored of a Zoom call. We're able to bring that Zoom call and expand it, and then show them some real content, which is very good. And then, yes, our journey began in 2018 at the Winter Olympics with Discovery Eurosport. We actually, it was a 3-sided cube at that time. We've lost one. We didn't lose it, we just took it away. And we went from there, and that we came back with a long R&D process with people like Disguise and Moses about how this all ties together. And then it's constantly developing, as I say, but it's a moving project. And then, as I say, content is the key thing we've discovered. We can bring it from Unreal, Notch, Unity. Just so you've seen Notch, Unreal today. We don't have any Unity, but it's perfectly possible. It's just a string. Just jump to slide. And yeah, our content you can see mostly today is in Freight Studios. So Finn Ross and Adam Young. They able to create this content, which is nice to know. And that is the end of my slides.